Hello and welcome to Woman Unboxed. I'm Chido Victoria, and this is a space where we reflect on the things that affect women. We unpack the stories we've inherited and ask the questions that help us see ourselves and our lives more clearly. I'll start this episode with a memory. It's my memory, and maybe it'll feel familiar to you. I learned about double standards before I even knew what to call them. I just, lived them. See, I got married at 17. I dropped out of my upper sixth year after getting pregnant, and just like that, my education stopped. Suddenly, I was no longer a student. I was a teenage mother. I was a wife, the one that had to hold everything together at home. And girl, I was not ready. I was nowhere near close to being ready. You see, when I was growing up, we always had house helpers. But I also helped around the house. I knew all the basics of cleaning a house, doing laundry, cooking, all that stuff. But doing something as a helper and actually managing are completely different. I didn't understand all the invisible work, the planning, the thinking ahead, the constant mental load of keeping everything running, and now all that was mine. I had a baby who needed my attention 24/7. I had a home to maintain, and I had to keep up this role of supposedly perfect wife, the good wife. I was young. I was a teenager. I was inexperienced, and frankly, I was overwhelmed. Honestly, I struggled. The house would get messy sometimes. Meals weren't always on time or properly done. Some days I was just exhausted. But the judgment, it came anyway. Subtle things like little comments, comparisons, those looks. Until eventually I believed it myself. If the house wasn't perfect, it was my fault. Only mine. And here's the thing, my husband back then, he wasn't even sure how to support me. I don't think he woke up thinking, how can I make our life harder today? No. Deep down, I believe he wanted to help, but you see, he had his own unspoken expectations, things he didn't even realize he was carrying, things that were taught to him too. He'd come home and just wait, not because it was cruel, but because that's what he saw when he was growing up. That's what the culture whispered to him about what a man does, what a woman does. He was trapped in it too, just in a different way. He was also constrained by these same teachings that were suffocating me. So when I talk about these patterns, I need you to hear this. I'm not attacking men. I'm questioning the system that shaped both of us, the one that set us both up to struggle in ways we didn't even understand. That's how I first learned about what so many Shona people know, Musha Mukadzi. You know what this phrase means? Musha Mukadzi. The woman is the home. It sounds so beautiful when you first hear it, like you're being honored, celebrated, crowned even. But in real life, it means you carry everything. The whole weight of the home is on you. It's like carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. And I think maybe this idea got twisted somewhere along the way, like with bride price. Rora. I believe it started as something beautiful, a way to honor a woman, to give thanks, appreciation to her family. But sometimes the way people talk about it now, it's like it's become more of ownership. So when a home is thriving, that's a woman's grace. But if things fall apart, that's her failure. She's supposed to cover for her husband's mistakes, hide his infidelity, endure neglect, suffer in silence. If they can't have children and it's actually his issue, she still has to protect his dignity, even if it costs her own truth. She can't be weak. She can't fail. She can't rest. And then there's this other saying that is very common. Varume vana. Men are children. People say it with a little laugh, right? Like it's just cute. It's just harmless. But think about what we're actually excusing when we say that. Irresponsibility, emotional distance, cheating, neglect. We just shrug and say, that's just how men are. But here's where I get confused. Because you see, these same men, the ones that we're calling children, are also supposed to be the head of the home, the leader, the one we respect without question, the one we submit to, the king. But how does that work? How can you be a child and a king at the same time? If you're a child, how can you lead? And if you're a king, why on earth are you not held accountable? It just doesn't make sense, does it? And nowhere is this contradiction clearer than when we talk about faithfulness. Women, we're just expected to be completely faithful, restrained, emotions in check. We get side-eyed for just talking to another man, for wearing the wrong dress. But when a man cheats, suddenly the story changes. He's just being a man. Men have needs. That's just how they are. You see, in many of our cultures, polygamy is allowed. Sometimes it's even encouraged. And some people say it's biblical even. And women are expected to just accept it or at least stay quiet about it. But does anyone ask her? Does she want to share her husband, her love, her life? Because most women want love that is whole, respectful, safe. But because of the gap between what is allowed and what women actually want, men navigate this in so many different ways. Some will practice polygamy openly, but more often it's secrecy. It's the small houses, the clandestine relationships that still affect the main marriage. No matter how much we try and normalize this, women are still hurt every single day. I know so many women living under this reality right now, and while I can't speak for their happiness, I always wonder, did they truly choose this, or did they just accept it because that was what was expected, or because they were forced into a situation after being misled, and by the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. And when women finally speak up, when they seek advice, do you know what happens? They're often told to just endure. When a woman finds out that her husband cheated, she might go to somebody that she trusts. Maybe this is an auntie, an older woman who she expects is going to give her advice to help her get through this horrible, horrible situation. But what does she hear? It happened to me too. I stayed. You should stay too. For the sake of your children, for the sake of your marriage, you have to be long-suffering. I saw this video just yesterday of a bridal shower. You know how older women give advice to the bride? Well, this one broke my heart. You see, they told her that she has to love her husband's favorite football team. Never mind if it's not the one that she supports. Never mind a bit of healthy competition in the home. No. She has to now change her allegiance to whatever football team that he loves. She has to cook his meals perfectly and get a foot spa when he's watching the match, soak his feet in the foot spa, file his soles, clip his toenails, give him foot massages. I mean, Acts of love are beautiful, but what was missing was this. No one told this young lady to nurture herself, to find joy within herself, to build her own strength so that she could stand on her own no matter what she faced, no matter what came, no matter how much she needed anything from anyone. Instead, they told her that she had to ignore his shenanigans. If he fooled around outside the marriage, no matter what he did, as long as those noisemakers didn't come and knock on her door, as long as they didn't affect her home directly, she was to ignore it. They advised her that she mustn't touch her husband's phone. They advised her that she must mind her own business. And this is happening now, 2025, 2026. I was really happy to see that there are now men's forums, men's groups who give advice to men. And I am so happy because I think it's about time we had this. I really applaud this. But imagine if we had couples showers where we get both partners, we get the bride, we get the groom, we sit them down together and give them the same advice together, where we talk about shared responsibility. If marriage is a team, shouldn't we have the same playbook? Shouldn't we be regrouping together in the same locker room and giving each other tips on how we can make our team shine together? But instead, women are told, be silent, endure, that's wisdom. Rarely does anyone ask us, what do you want? Is this actually fair to you? What is this costing your soul? And these patterns, they don't stay in one place. They travel with us. I know a woman, let's call her Damilola. She's Nigerian and living in the UK. She works full-time and her income literally keeps the household running, because for most households here in the UK, life is better if you have two incomes. But despite all this, she's still expected to do everything at home perfectly. If a dish isn't washed, if her husband's favorite meal isn't made when he wants it, or his expectations are not met, he calls her father. And what do you think his father does when he calls her? Instead of supporting his daughter, her father scolds Damilola for shaming the family. So what does Damilola do? She comes home at 11 at night and she cooks for her husband. She batch cooks for the whole week. She freezes the food in containers, and then at 3 in the morning, she crawls into bed where her husband is waiting. Then a few hours later, she wakes up and does it all over again. The food is there in the fridge. Her husband could warm it up himself. But you know what? Culture has told him that he shouldn't have to. This is how resentment builds. Not in big fights, but in these small daily moments. A woman comes home exhausted, and immediately the first thing she starts to do before she even sits down is tidy up. She starts to put the dishes away. She starts to pick up the toys from the floor. On the other hand, when a man comes home, he just flops onto the sofa, puts his feet up, and probably demands a drink or something. He knows the house is going to be handled, and often it's not that he doesn't care. It's just that he was never taught that this is also his responsibility. You see, even when we move away to the UK, to the US, to Canada, to Australia, these patterns follow us. Our bodies remember what we were taught. It is ingrained in us, and it is not something we can just shake off because we have hopped on a plane and flown across the oceans. Let me be clear. This is not about attacking men. No. So many men are trapped by these expectations. They are also told to be tough, They're told to hide their emotions, that sensitivity is weakness, that they cannot shed tears, they cannot be emotional. These cultural narratives hurt everyone. And here's the thing, this goes beyond just relationships. Our children are watching, they are learning. Our daughters learn to hold on past the point of safety. Our sons learn that their needs matter more. Culture isn't just what we say, it's what we allow, what we repeat, what we don't challenge. And listen, I'm raising sons. When I talk about this, it's not from anger, it's from hope. I want my sons to grow into men who understand that women are not difficult or complicated. We're just beautifully layered. We're human. I want them to be curious about the women they love, to actually listen, to create safe spaces where a woman can truly be herself. Because when a woman feels safe, she blooms. And when she blooms, everyone around her benefits. I want my sons to know that a home belongs to everyone in it. That contributing isn't helping, it's just being part of the family. Shared responsibility. And I want them to see their mother loved, cherished, respected, protected, provided for. Not because I demanded it, but because it's right. I want them to see me joyful, laughing, at peace. I want them to see their father loving me well and in turn flourishing himself, becoming the fullest version of who God created him to be. Because what children see, they normalize. And to every woman raising daughters, teach them from day one that their worth does not come from sacrifice, does not come from suffering or from approval or from any person outside of themselves. Their value is intrinsic. Their happiness matters, and their wholeness is not earned through pain. I don't just want to change the narrative. I want us to change it together. So our sons and daughters can grow up in a culture that values both women and men equally, that celebrates shared responsibility, shared humanity. I'm not here today with all the answers. Instead, I'm here with questions. Questions that encourage reflection, growth, transformation within our families and communities. In this journey, it's not about having everything figured out, but about being willing to ask, to wonder, and to seek together. These questions invite us to examine what we model for our children, how we value ourselves and others, and how we might collectively reshape the narratives that have defined us for generations. When was the last time that someone asked you what you actually want and you felt free enough to answer them honestly? What if your daughter came to you today and she was living the exact life that you are living right now? What would you tell her? What would your advice be to her? And if there was no celebration of endurance as being a virtue, what is it in your life that you would stop enduring today? Thank you for spending this time with me. If something in this conversation stirred a thought or a feeling inside you, I invite you to sit with it gently and allow the reflection to continue beyond this space. This is Woman Unboxed.